Hello, everyone. This is Red and Green, the podcast. We got some great things to talk about today. First, how was your day, Christy?
I don't like an intro like that.
Okay, so we're going to stop with your negativity.
No, I like the way I started it a minute ago.
Usually that comes later on in the podcast.
No, I'm not negative. I'm just saying I didn't like it.
Okay, gotcha.
Day, I have weeks to catch you up on.
Okay,
Not
good.
just a day.
All right, let's do this.
Just because you live it don't mean that they don't know it.
Ooh, Bill.
So, first things first. Sorry about last week, guys.
Yeah, for real.
But let me tell you what happened.
What happened?
A moment happened, I think, with both of us. School started last week. And first of all, I'm taking a calculus class. And I procrastinated. I put off, not took off.
Okay.
I put off taking that class.
Right.
Because it's hard. And so I didn't want to take it. That was dumb. Because this should be the semester that I kick back and relax.
Yeah.
Well, this is the hardest semester I have had, like, by far, the most homework intensive.
Right.
Which makes me want to take a long walk off a short pier. I was literally the first, 4 days almost in tears thinking there's no way I'm not going to have the time to do it.
Right, right.
So there was just no time because I had to get a gauge as to what my workload was going to be. Then you had a crazy workload with school starting back. Mm-hmm. Then you had some type of letters that you had to go to a thing in Tampa.
Yeah, at the FMEA conference. Yep.
Right. So you had to do all of that, all of your other work because you had to do that stuff.
Yep.
Then you had your college paperwork you had to do.
Yep.
Then you had life.
Yeah.
Of just normal stuff and your normal work. And the same was going for me.
Right.
You know, my college paperwork, not really. Not the same college paper. Well, actually, really, but not the same as yours. Then prepping for OCS to start back for the spring. And getting ready for the MLK concert in February. And all of that happened last week.
Yeah.
And it gave me great anxiety.
Well, you handled it like a boss, so you did well.
I didn't feel like I did very well, but thank you. I appreciate you saying that. And then there was something that we did the week before that I was going to talk about. Mm-hmm. That was something good.
They all blended. They all run together. I don't remember.
I don't know. When I remember it,
right,
I'll let you know. Might be next week before I remember. Who knows?
This is true.
And then, so Friday, what did we do?
I don't know what we did.
Where'd we go?
Steinmetz Hall opening. That was good.
That was a good show.
Yeah, it was a good show.
As a person who is not worldly in shows.
Uh-huh.
My worldliness of shows is Frozen and...
Right.
Actually, that's such a lie. I have never seen Frozen. I just use that as an example.
Right.
But my show is Law and Order and
boom boom.
So yeah, basically that's my stuff.
Right.
So, but I really enjoyed it because it was a mix up. They had country people, a poet, choir music,
orchestra music. They had a collage of a lot of different things.
Yeah.
So it was pretty cool.
And we got to see Clay and Mike.
We got to see Clay and Mike.
I love it.
So that was great.
Yes. Had fun.
Yeah.
We had a good time. Except my feet.
Oh, your feet was...
Yeah, let me tell you what I did. You tell them what I did.
You tell... No, you did.
You encouraged it.
I didn't encourage it.
You liar. You're being a liar right now.
Did I?
Yes.
I don't remember.
You told me to actually do it. And I said, that is so trifling. And you said, which would be better? You encouraged it. Don't act like I didn't tell you to do it.
No, I just don't remember. But there's no need to get a fight over it. It really is not.
No, when you say I said something and you said I didn't and you did.
Snap, crackle.
It's about to be in your face.
Oh, Nelly. Fear has cometh over me. I don't think so.
So I had on the most beautiful shoes.
Right, you did.
And I now have an injury from them. I do. Look, it literally, I have a scab.
Right.
You see it?
Yeah.
I'm showing him the scab.
Yeah, I think everybody saw it.
Okay. So it's like there's a little scallop edge on the side, and it dug into the side of my foot. So when we were leaving, I was like, well, at the end of it, I was doing the thing of like, I'm going to stand right here, and you go talk to whoever, because I couldn't walk.
Right.
And when we walked out, I carried it like a champ. I wasn't walking like I was in pain until we got across the street. And then I was like, I don't know if I can do this. Oh, my gosh. And he told me to take my shoes off. I walked barefooted in downtown Orlando. I probably have scurvy of my feet or diphtheria or something.
Was a lot better. You felt a lot better, so.
Yes, but I did wash my feet and sanitized my feet with like hand sanitizer because it grossed me out. Because I was like, how many people have spit on the ground and dog speed? I'm just walking on it.
Walking and singing.
I wasn't singing.
And whistling.
I mean, I might have sung. Probably not.
But it was a good evening. And then the next morning I had to go back to Tampa. And then was done. So it was a crazy weekend. Crazy busy.
Yeah, and then Sunday
just getting ready.
We had church. We were going to go to Epcot.
Oh, yeah, like, that didn't happen.
No, but it was also, so winter has hit Orlando.
Yeah.
I can't stand it.
Hey, listen, it's Orlando. Winter here is 48 hours, 72.
Oh, and we got the dog groomed. He looks different, don't he?
Mm-hmm.
It's so cute. I cried.
The dog is groomed.
I didn't cry because he looked different. I cried because I had to drop him off and I felt bad about it.
Right.
And you laughed.
Oh, yeah. Oh, brother. It's a haircut.
No, it wasn't the haircut that I was crying over. It was because I can't tell him that. I mean, I just think it's really sad. If you didn't speak English and you took me somewhere and just left me there, like, you wouldn't do that to your kid. Just take your kid who don't speak English. And I mean, I guess you do when you take him to daycare, don't you?
Yeah, pretty much. I'm just letting you talk and come to your own
But still, I don't care. He's a dog, and a kid will get older and understand. The dog will never exactly understand it, I don't think. And he looked like the last time that somebody walked away, he was at a new place, and his human never came back.
Oh, bro.
But I came back. What did he do when he saw me?
I don't know. Give you a thumbs up?
What did he do?
Give you a paw up? Yeah, I wish I could see her face right about that.
Because it irritates me.
Hilarious.
If you would just answer my questions,
how about
this would go quicker.
I don't feel like it.
Oh, nerves. Why are you so feisty?
That's funny. So today, what we're going to talk about?
I'm not done with my dog.
Then you tell him about your dog. And
what did he do when he saw me?
Huh?
What did he do when he saw me?
How? At the
What did he do when he saw me?
What did he do when he saw me?
You were there.
You were there. What did he do? Oh, he ran to you. That's what he did.
Yeah, and then he jumped on me because he was happy to see his mama.
Aww.
He was like, that's my mama. That's my human. And I was like, he looks weird. But he looked good. And then I let him get some toys.
Are y'all hearing her voice change? I want y'all to hear.
That's my baby dog.
Oh, I can't take this. So,
I love it.
this is supposed to be a podcast not about that dog.
But it's an update. It's a life update.
It's your whole personality change. It's an update. It's a life update.
Shut up. Don't be rude.
Oh, my goodness.
Okay, go ahead. We'll talk on the topic now.
No.
Blah, blah, blah.
Okay. No, it's been silly.
Well, no, it's actually time.
Okay. Oh, okay.
Well, unless you have anything you would like to add
Not
on
at all.
your...
Not at all.
I feel like you were supposed to say something that you didn't say.
No.
Like you had a announcement of some type.
No. But if it come back to me, I'll make it.
Yeah. It might be next week.
Yeah. Who knows?
Okay. So, not last week, but the last podcast you listened to, we talked about guilt.
Yeah.
And today we are talking about...
Shame.
Everyone start singing Garth Brooks right now. You didn't think that was funny.
Not at all.
It's a song, Shameless, by Garth Brooks.
Never heard of it.
Let me sing it?
Not at all, but I want to.
You're right.
Yeah. Wake it.
So, do you remember what guilt was?
Kinda.
Tell me.
Well, anyway, it's more so it could be good or bad. How does it affect you? How do you act out because of guilt? What is behind your actions? So some guilt is good if it keeps you on a certain
Like the straight and narrow.
to healthy. And then you have that other guilt that you do that is unhealthy. And, you could be an overeater because of it. You could, act out in ways that are unhealthy because of it. You know what I'm saying? So it can manifest itself in so many different ways that you don't even realize it.
True. So today we're talking about shame. And unlike guilt, shame is always bad.
Shame is always bad. Yeah.
Always bad. So the best way I saw it described, I think it was Brene Brown who said it, and I'm probably going to slaughter it, and I should have written it down.
Okay.
Like, this is one of those things. But basically, if you feel shame, it's not like you say you as a whole person are garbage, basically. It's not like, ooh, I did a bad thing.
Right.
I'm a good person that did a bad thing. It's like, I'm a bad person.
Right.
Does that make sense?
Yeah.
Did I say that right?
Yeah.
Okay. So, you question, like, how could I be the person who have done that I had done that? Or, like, what, it's like your character. You question your character as a person.
Right.
And a way to notice, and I thought that this was I'm going to kind of go down a list and we're going to talk about it.
Okay.
And because I thought it was smart. So if you're dealing with shame, like we just said, you focus on your entire self. But a lot of times you feel extreme stress. Like, not normal stress based on a normal action, right?
Right.
Like, I think a good example is like a kid, like a tiger mom kid. You know what a tiger mom is?
Yeah.
Okay. So a kid of a tiger mom, where, like, if I didn't study for a test, and this was really with my own parents. They were kind of tiger parents. If I didn't study for a test and I made a bad grade, I literally felt like a terrible person. Like, my character was flawed, because how in the world could I be such a garbage human to be so lazy that I didn't study for the test, and now I'm going to go home and disappoint my parents and ruin their life? Really, I made a bad grade on a test.
That's
Now,
extra. Yeah.
Now, it got to a point to where, like, the guilt of it would make me study. Like,
Right.
I don't even want to hear it. Like, I don't want to hear, if I just do it, I'll get it done.
Right.
And I'll get a good grade, and everyone's happy, and it avoids the drama.
Right.
You know?
Right.
And it's better for me. It's the right thing to do. Like, so it went from shame to guilt. But there was a point where it was shame, and I thought, I'm just a terrible human because of that.
Right.
So, but with shame, oftentimes you also believe that you have no control over something bad that happens.
Right.
Like, over the outcome of it.
Yeah.
And that's not the case.
Right.
Like, you might not can control any outcome, but you can control reactions. Your reactions. You
Of
can
your own,
control how you behave.
Yeah, and the thing about it is, when it comes to some situation like that, sometimes you want to be controlling. You know what I'm saying? Because of what shame does. So you want to control everything around you. And at the end of the day, when it comes to stuff like that, in order to move past the shame, you have to relinquish control. In other words, I'm afraid of what this person thinks about me. Or how would this turn out? You have to be able to relinquish that and then learn to move forward. And then sooner or later, the shame starts to dissipate because you can't control the outcome of things, if that makes sense to you.
Right. So I'll go ahead and say, like, I'll just put it out there. I'm 44, probably 30 years of my life dealing with guilt and shame. And I mean, granted, everybody deals with air quote guilt and shame at different times, but I will say, for me personally, it has been a struggle. And it can be from big stuff to little stuff. And there's a lot of stuff that I have done that I ain't proud of. And like things I feel guilty about and things I felt shame for. The thing is, I can honestly say right now where I'm sitting in my life, I don't have any of either.
That's awesome.
That if anyone wants to sit, because here's the thing. I would say in the past 15 years, I've seen it all. I've seen it all of the gamut of between guilt and shame and what humans are capable of doing to one another, just read Facebook for 20 minutes. Or I almost said Snapchat, but that's not something you'd really read. But it's ridiculous. And the shame that I have felt to where I have thought that I'm not worthy of being loved. I'm not worthy of being cherished. I'm not worthy of being honored. You know, I was overweight. How do I not have self-control? Then, so guess what I did? I got self-control. And then I ended up, like weighing 125 pounds. So I went the totally opposite way. But it's taken a lot of therapy.
Right.
To get to where I don't feel shame over just basic life mistakes.
Yeah. And that's big because it's hard to admit those things, you know what I'm saying? And it's hard to be vulnerable about those things because you can have a tendency to walk the fine line of oversharing, but how can you help without being codependent yourself, but you want to help and inspire someone? That being said, it's more so that we've all gone through it. Some of my shame demons that I would deal with, would be sometimes overeating, you know what I'm saying? Or throw myself deeply into my music, you know what I'm saying? Or, stuff like that, you know what I'm saying? That you try to self-medicate yourself instead of just going through it to get to the other side of it, to get healthy.
Yeah, once you got to acknowledge the difference between when you're feeling shame, like, what is it? Why do I feel this way? And then run the gamut of, well, what's something good I do for people?
Right.
So then you're not a bad person, right? You know what I'm saying? Like, you kind of got to pull yourself up out of the shame. You might not let go of the guilt for a minute. And, then you go through the process of getting rid of the guilt. Yeah. But that shame part, you need to run out of that as quick as you possibly can.
Yeah. And because oftentimes people don't want to deal with the shame. So sometimes they try to do a whole bunch of good. So they won't have to deal with the shame of anything they may have done that shamed them. And I say, do the good for good's sake. Deal with the shame for shame's sake. So you can get past, in other words, so you can get past the shame and so you can grow into who you are.
Right.
And, and allow yourself to not get caught up in like I said, the peanut gallery of someone's opinion about you. You know you. And Brene Brown is awesome about that. But you know what? Nedja Tawwab talks about stuff like that too. And so in terms of how do you set boundaries because of that stuff? But you can get through it. You can get through it. It's hard, but you can do it.
Yeah, I think the thing that, one, you just have to acknowledge what you are. Like, that you've done crap. Like, you just have to say, I've done it. Like, like at the end of the day, you know what I mean? Look, as I said, I like to watch Law and Order previously. How much easier does it go when they finally admit it? what's the relief of the person when they finally are just like, and I mean, I'm not saying that you need to get onto Facebook and type every flaw that you have ever had as a person, but at least with your own self, when you do something, you did it. You did it. One of my favorite things that I read while doing research on this, because I have seen it.
Right.
It literally says, one way to know that a person is dealing with shame is they blame others for their decisions and they are looking for a scapegoat.
Oh, yep. Absolutely.
That is a big sign of shame. And I've seen that. Like, I've seen it so much. The victimology that people will have, and man, Facebook is the worst. Like, that's one of the places, you know, you get all of the cryptic posts of whatnot. And
right.
Either one, you're not as a person going to talk about how great something is in one breath, and in the other part of your sentence about how things were terrible and nothing was ever your fault.
Right.
That's just not the way the human psyche works. Like, that's not the way it works. So, you know, if you know that you have done wrong, you know, if you got two robbers, here's a good example, two bank robbers. And what happens when they get caught? The cops take them in, right? And they're like, what happened? And they ask the other bank robber, what happened?
Right.
What ends up happening? One flips on the other one. Why do they flip? To protect themselves.
Right.
They ain't going, they're like, no, let me tell you, it was his idea. He did it. They were best friends, ride or dies
Right.
all the way until they got caught. And now all of a sudden, one's a victim.
Yep.
And the other was the mind behind the whole thing. So, you know, listen to me, give me the deal, still love me. People do that in friend groups.
Right.
They will gang up on a friend and be like, hey, let's not listen what they did to me. Listen what they did to me because I want you to like me. Guess what? There are so many people that I cannot stand that my friends like.
Right.
And you can like someone that I just don't have to like them.
Yeah, exactly.
Like, you don't have to like anybody. But guess what I also don't have to do?
Wow.
I never have to get on social media and dig on another person for anything that they've done to me.
Right.
And I can give you a list. You want to hit pause? You want to come to my house? You want to sit down? You want to go through my scrapbooks? I can tell anybody things that different people have done that would curl their hair. I don't post it on Facebook.
Right.
And really, every one of those people, they just damage too. When you see somebody posting something negative, like on Facebook about another person, this is what I think is funny. You're getting the total opposite reaction. What you're saying is, I still wish they loved me. I still wish they liked me. You still are craving their attention because you're still focused on them. You know what I mean? And I saw that happen so bad with a couple of my friends in Fredericksburg. And I got a lot there, so y'all can't figure it out. What? But it was literally between two girls.
Right.
And they, like, y'all make up. Y'all just need to make up because you're so focused. Like, come on.
Right.
And they were both ashamed of how they behaved. That's why they were both doing it. If you don't have to explain yourself to the public and you don't feel like you need to, and by the public, I mean like Facebook or publicly, or if you're asked, you'll tell them the truth.
Right.
And the whole truth. You're doing good. That doesn't mean you don't regret what you did. That doesn't mean that, like, you don't think it was a big deal. But that means that you're not sitting in shame and guilt, and you know you still have something to give to the world. You know who you are as a person. And you can move on. Like, the thing, if I was hung up on the stuff that I have done, well, you'd never want to get out of bed. And truth be told, I think that that's probably 95% of the population. But there's certain things, because society says, you know, like, we should feel worse over X or Y. And then there's personality types. People suffer with depression. They have a whole lot harder of a time getting over it. And then they also, I think a lot of times people they don't even know they're sitting in it.
Mm-hmm.
They don't see their own struggle.
Mm-hmm.
But when you're looking out and you do the work and you're in therapy, do you not see some of this stuff like shining lights on it?
Absolutely.
Like, I'm like, oh, Lord, I need to pray for them.
No, absolutely. You know, it's a process that we all go through and that we all learn. You embrace it for what it is. But again, you still must move forward and you must continue on. At the end of the day, you don't sit. You don't sit in it. You got to keep going. Forgive yourself.
Mm-hmm.
And because oftentimes it's easier to forgive others than it is yourself.
Mm-hmm.
And you got to forgive yourself. And you got to keep going.
Mm-hmm.
And so that there's a fine line between guilt and shame.
Yeah.
There's a fine line, you know, and because that guilt could drive you to shame also, or that shame could drive, you know what I'm saying?
Yeah, normally that's what happens is guilt.
So,
Guilt. Well, not all the time, but like, because you can be shamed and not have anything to be guilty about. Like me, when I told you I feel guilty to eat cake,
yeah,
that literally makes no sense. Like, there's no reason to feel that way or to get shamed by it. Like, that, it literally doesn't make sense.
right.
But
When I hear stuff like that, I think of in particular things like that of that nature. I think, so what happened as a child that could be deep rooted, that could be subconscious, that we act out consciously. You know, it is, you know, is one of those things. You know, when I look at, you know, just different things in life, I say, okay, why am I that way? Why did I think that way? Why do I feel that way? And I try to find out what my why is. Because if I find out what the why is, I can possibly fix it. If I don't find out my why, you always running in circles.
right. Yeah, that's a thing. So there's this, look, you didn't even know you were segueing.
No, I did not know.
So there's a thing, and I'm going to post it. I haven't made it yet, so hopefully I post it today. But if I don't, I'll post it tomorrow sometime. But is a thing, and I'm going to post it a worksheet. I did it myself, and it's acknowledging, like, and you can burn the paper. Again, burn the papers.
Yeah, you ain't got to keep it.
Okay, so a way to work through some of the stuff is to say, so think about something that you said. You think about something that you regret saying, and I'm going to think of something I regret saying.
Okay.
You want me to go first, or you want to go first?
Yeah, you go first, because I'm like...
You can do the, how safe is this? How far are we going? So, a thing that I regret saying, and listen, I ain't oversharing, so I'm going to use some benign stuff, but
Okay.
It happened today. You're grounded, and I don't know how long you're grounded until, but more than likely, it's for at least 6 weeks. That's what I said.
And it made me feel really weird because I want to go outside and play.
So, who I said it to was my 11-year-old.
Uh-huh.
And what did I wish I said? Now, see, that makes me get to where, like, I start struggling with guilt and shame with him.
Right. Uh-huh.
What I wish I'd have said was this. I'm going to come back to you in an hour or so and do some thinking and make some phone calls. And then I'm going to tell you what your punishment's going to be.
Right.
Not just start with random numbers and stuff, like with no thought. Mm-hmm. And because then I feel like I lose some respect of him when I have to come back and revise it and say, I was really mad in the moment. Blah, blah, blah. Right? So, what's an example of yours?
I'm trying to think.
You said you had one.
Did I?
Yeah.
I'm sure I do. I'm trying to remember, honestly.
Something that you regret saying today.
Today. I don't know about today, but I'm sure I have plenty. Oh my goodness, I'm just drawing a blank. What I don't know necessarily about today, but I can tell you one regret I did have, just period. That still haunts me to this day, actually.
Okay.
One thing that I had said to one of my students is I did not let a student in. This is when I taught high school. I did not let a student in one of my advanced choirs because I thought that she wasn't not good enough. She was good enough, but she didn't work hard enough. I thought, but I didn't think, but I didn't. I don't think how can I say it? I pushed her. I don't think I gave her the benefit of the doubt. So I regret not putting her in that advanced choir. And that haunted me for at least 10 years. To the point to where when I saw her 10 years later. And when I looked at her, I started crying. And I apologized to her for 10 years. And I said to her, I made one of the biggest mistakes of my teaching career is I did not put you in the advanced choir because I judged you.
What'd she say?
She had no idea.
I mean, I was hoping she'd be like, you right. It was one of your biggest mistakes.
She had no idea. And I said, if I can do it all over again, I would change. So it's not so much what I said, it's what I did.
Let me ask you a question. How did you feel after you saw her and you said it?
A big old weight jumped off my back that I was carrying for 10 years. That I didn't even realize it was really a weight until I would talk about it to students. And it governed the way I put students in my advanced choirs. It just governed it to like, okay, you don't judge a book by the cover. You read the pages. And if you come across something that you don't understand, you ask the questions. And that helped me because I then transfer that to everyday life. I read the book. And if there's something I'm not sure about, I go straight to the author and ask the question. If author meaning, you know what I'm saying?
Right, the person.
The person. So, because that's one of the mistakes that I made. And I said, what damage? Luckily, she was a sweet girl and didn't catch it. But imagine if she did. What damage I could have caused that young kid.
Way to go ruin people's life as an educator,
And
Jeff.
honestly, and not realize it.
No, I'm playing. You're just a human.
But still, just a human, yeah, but you still hurt.
Right. And that's what we're talking about, though.
Yeah.
You made a mistake. Were you a bad person?
No, I wasn't a bad person. No,
Right.
as I said this to a session. I mean, Dr. Miller and I did a session at FMEA, and I said this: I am not my successes, nor am I my failures. I'm not my successes, nor am I my failures. I'm Jeff. I'm independent of both. My actions don't dictate who I am. I try to grow from it all. Mm-hmm. You know, if that makes sense. I don't know if that makes sense, but.
So, another thing.
Yeah.
Think about. What's something you regret doing? I got this one.
Go ahead.
Well, I got like 7. But we're going to go with this one. So I'm going to show you my wrist right here. It's not suicide.
Oh, because I'll be like,
Listen,
end of the podcast?
Yes, look. Ooh, trigger warning.
Yeah.
Sorry, but it's not that. So, you see this scar right here? That looks like a V, and then this one right here. Mm-hmm. I live in Tucson, Arizona. I had surgery on my foot.
Right.
And fixing the bionic foot. I had somebody going to get yogurt for me. Mm-hmm. And because I couldn't eat because I was coming out of anesthesia and all of that. So it was like a same-day surgery and you went home. And I went and knocked on a window. And my house there was like from 1960, and it was Arizona. It's hot and dry. And they didn't turn around quick enough. And I'm telling you, when I hit this glass, I was ticked.
Right.
I hit it with intention. And I punched my fist straight through that glass. And you want to talk, right? I mean, tell them it's right at my wrist.
It's right at her wrist.
And I ain't never seen nothing bleed so bad in my life. Mm-hmm. And then this flap, it was like a big flap of my hand was up. And then a puncture with a big shard of glass. I then had to go to the hospital the same day I had surgery, go back to the ER, and then they had to scrub this mess and sew my hand up. Oof, and I completely regret not having wherewithal. I know how I react out of anesthesia. They tie me down for a reason.
Right.
I was home. Mm-hmm. I still know. I knew it then, and I didn't stop myself.
Right.
So it's one of those things to where now it's like, hey, you know what? You're going to knock me out. We're going to stay here for about 12 hours.
Right.
We're not going home. That I wish I had had enough sense. But my 22-year-old was 4 at the time, and he remembers it.
Really?
You see your mama looking like a old faithful of blood coming out of her arm,
right?
And, hearing the loud boom, and
right.
Yeah. So that's one of the biggest things I regret doing, and that the action itself, I felt stupid and it caused me pain, right? So that kind of made me feel guilty, like, you dummy. But then I started feeling shame over the whole thing because my little one was scared of it.
Yeah. Which makes sense.
And that was one of those things. It's like, listen, you're human. You know not to do it now.
Right.
You gotta and go on from it. What you regret doing? You got one?
Yeah, I got one. This happened to me years ago. I think I was a freshman in college, probably. I mean, that long ago. Since I'm only 21, I'm joking.
Ancient history.
Ancient history.
Let's break out the scrolls.
So I remember being bullied, and I won't go into all the details, but I was bullied, and it was so interesting. I would call my mom and I would cry, and I said, "Mama, this person bothering me, or that person's bothering me," and so on and so forth. And it was nothing physical. It was nothing physical like that. Threats and things of that nature that, no one put their hands on me or nothing like that. But with just weird stuff. So I remember I've lost my temper. And in the dorm room, this person bullied me for the last time. And I grabbed a box cutter and I threw it. Yeah. And the person ran out the room. That was it. And then I went down to the people.
Did you get in trouble?
No, I could have. I went down to the dorm people and I said, I told y'all to move me out this room. And you didn't do it. Now look what happened. And that's what I told them. And I was so mad. And I was ashamed about it. I was ashamed. And guess why I was ashamed?
Because you lost your temper?
I was ashamed because I gave my power away. I lost my temper. And when you lose your temper, this is what ends up happening for the shame. People end up focusing on that you lost your temper. And that becomes the it.
Oh, yeah, I do that.
And so, therefore...
I'm people.
You are people.
Yeah, like I'm saying, I agree.
No, yeah.
I've done that.
And so, the thing about it is that then I had that happened to me a few other times, throughout my life. And it's to a point, early on. And now, if it happens now, it's I always think, if you respond to this, people will focus on the reaction. And so my shame is that I gave my power away. Now I work real hard not to, and just focus on the task that I have. Because eventually, by me not responding, people start realizing how people just really are. You know what I'm saying? And so it's more so let my silence and let my work speak. But if I had not gone through as a freshman in college, and different points in time throughout my school and my career, those things have popped up. I can't allow my temper to go there. I can't, because you want to, but if I let go, whoa, Nelly. So I'm not trying to let go. I'm trying to focus on what, I'm not going to allow, so my shame, in this instance, my shame guided me. Not my shame didn't guide me. That's wrong. The shame that I had made me make a decision to try to handle this in a healthier way.
Right.
And so those, that's something that I think about anytime I get really, really mad, I think about that moment and say, buddy, if you do. And the thing about it is, I am too blessed, too fortunate to allow myself to, you know what I'm saying, go back into those times. Nah, I can't do that. You know, it's hard sometimes, but you got to keep going. So that's something I say is a shame. And I've had different points and times where I have to look at that and say, okay, how can this guide me to be better? You know, to be a better person, to be better for the people in my life, to be better for, you know what I'm saying? How can I do that?
That's the whole point of all of this is to acknowledge what it is and then use it. Like, don't be proud of yourself when you're a garbage human. We're not saying that. We're saying, right. You know what I mean? But like own your stuff and then grow from it. But if you sit there forever, it ain't gonna do nothing.
No.
If you stay mad forever, you're just gonna blow up and bust. Like, what are you doing? You know, the last one, that brings us to the last one. When I feel guilty, who was involved? That's a thing. So I'm going to use an example of me and you because I ain't bringing nobody else into our podcast, and I'll just use us.
Okay.
I will feel guilty. So guess who's involved? You.
Okay.
In this.
Right. Mm-hmm.
What happened? Well, pick one because I got a few. But I will often feel super guilty to tell you no. Or I can't right now, and I will later.
Right.
Because, like, we're working on this podcast stuff together, and you want something from me, and it's like, man, I've got to do homework, or I've got
Right.
You've never yelled at me. Let me be clear. You've never done anything. It's my own damaged person who really wants to do everything.
Right.
And I want to be the person who can get it done.
Right.
And it has been the thing that's funny is that we have talked about it. And if y'all hear me moving, my back is killing me, so I have to keep standing up and sitting down. So sorry if the audio gets bad right now, but my back is in dire straits. So, but, you know, a lot of times you might have guilt and somebody's really upset. You might have guilt when somebody's not upset.
Right.
Like, maybe if you're like, gosh, Christy, I really need you to do this for me now. And you're saying no, I would feel better. And be like, you expect too much. Honestly. Right. But when you're like, oh, okay.
Yeah.
Or if you can. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
Like, that's one where when I feel guilty with us.
You know, that happens but that happens on both ends. You know what I'm saying? That's normal. That happens with a lot of people. You know, and so that being said, it's the healthy thing is to realize, okay, you know, that person is not asking too much of me. I'm hung up because I want to do it all and to be able to help, but learn to say no. Because if not, you end up regretting it and it ends up turning into something that it doesn't need to turn into when no can just be it. You know what I'm saying? I've seen that with us or, you know, other people like just, hey, can't do it right now. Okay, let me know when you can. Or if you can't, or I got it. Don't worry about it. I figured it out. You know what I'm saying? So that's the thing that
when you say I got it, don't worry about it. Let me figure it out. You know what my type of personality hears that as?
What?
Projection.
Oh, okay, not mine.
No, I got that.
Right.
But
yeah.
that's funny. Jessica just texted in and heard like her text tone.
Cring, cring. That's my child. No.
But I mean, I think it's a great process,
right,
to work through and like to write down some things, like, and kind of try to make some of them silly. If you download the worksheets, it makes some of them like silly stuff, and maybe you want to make some of it real, or maybe they're all silly, or maybe you want to do them all as real, you know, like in deep thought. But to go through this worksheet, write the stuff down and kind of reflect on it, and then say, what do I need to do to go on from it?
Right. The biggest thing is, to add on to that, and I just thought about it, oftentimes you don't want to let people down. So you feel guilty about it. So when you indicated that you feel guilty about it because you don't want to let one down, you don't want to let someone down, you don't want to let me down. That's part of the issue right there is, where did that come from? You know what I'm saying? That intrinsic hope, Jeff, this ain't about you. This is who I am as a person, or Krista, this is who I am as a person. How do you,
I'm a people pleaser.
How do you not, I am too. How do you not throw your insecurities, your expectations off on someone like that?
Go to therapy.
You know what I'm saying? I mean, for real. and work through it.
Right.
And work through it and just trying to find out, why did it happen? When did it happen? When you were a kid? Or in college, or you don't know.
No,
So I mean, yeah. So that being said, the older I have become, the more reflective I have become. And as a result, I said, oh, certain things now kind of make sense. Oh, okay.
Well, and I think it's funny too, the older that I get, because I don't think it's like the same. You start looking back more the older that you get, and the less I care as to, although I'm a people pleaser, I now want to please the people I care about, not everybody.
Right. Yeah.
Not the all-encompassing everyone. So, I mean, maybe we just whittle it down.
I mean,
I can get to a healthy level. But I think we had a fantastic episode.
I think we knocked it out the park. Listen to me.
We're going to talk about this a little bit more next week and kind of wrap the whole thing up. And then, guess what we're talking about in February?
What?
Love. So, I challenge everyone. I forget who the guy is. Maybe you'll remember when I say it. Find out what your love language is.
Yeah.
Give it a Goog. Take the test. And we're going to talk about it. In the month of love, we're going to talk about love. He is cracking up because he just heard my stomach growl. I'm starving. I told you I was starving. Like, I'm so hungry.
I mean,
I could eat my arm.
Listen, it sounds like your stomach.
Notice me wrap it up.
It's like, we got to go. We're going to talk about love. I need a snack.
It sounds like your stomach was about to bite your spine.
I mean, I feel like it is. Like my belly button is making out with my spinal column right now.
I said.
Okay, guys. Well, thank you so much. As always, follow us on Instagram. If you can rate us and review us on iTunes, we would love it.
Awesome.
5 stars. Thank you so much. It really helps us. What was the other thing?
That's it. Red and Green, the podcast.
Say your ending.
I don't know my ending.
You say it every week.
See you next time on Red and Green, the podcast.